Welcome back to the Boatfeed, ladies and gentlemen, where we analyze all of the coolest stuff coming from on the water here. We are analyzing leg 2 of the Volvo Ocean Race. I'm Alan Block and joined again by Matt Knighton here in the beautiful Chicago Yacht Club Belmont Station above, what lake is this again?
Lake Michigan, one of the Great Lakes. Third coast of the States.
It's pretty good stuff. It's a gorgeous day out here, a little chilly, but not a bad background. Before we get anywhere down the road with all this video action and photo action and exciting call-ins, our new segment this week, a shout out to MUSTO, the official outfitter of the Volvo Ocean Race and really synonymous with the Volvo Ocean Race for so long, outfitting I think 4 or 5 of these teams as well, with incredible gear. And this was the kind of leg that they really needed it, Matt.
Yeah,
I think.
Definitely. Yeah, this all the conditions this leg. So
I don't know why it is that everyone picks MUSTO. I haven't tried a lot of other stuff. My MUSTO stuff was always good enough that I didn't need to try anything else.
We should add that MUSTO has been kind enough to outfit us with a nice piece of kit. So everybody that may be disappointed after commenting on our wardrobe last time around, you know, feel free to let them know how you really feel now that the plaid is gone.
I don't know what was so wrong with the brown, but maybe it was a little too much brown plaid.
Plaid Army, welcome to the North.
Seriously, though, these are called Effortless, these long-sleeve T-shirts, and they've got some spandex or something in them.
It's good.
And so even though Matt and I have a really different body size, our upper body type, I think would be fair to say. You're 3 inches taller than me, and you weigh less than me. They both look really good. I've got a sweater on, so we don't look like twinsies again.
That's good stuff.
But if you go to regattas a lot and you find yourself having to bring button-down shirts and you're tired of having wrinkled shirts, honestly, these things are amazing. Effortless T-shirts. Call your local MUSTO dealer today and get in on them. And also another great sponsor,
INMARSAT, satellite connector for the Volvo Ocean Race. They provide all the connectivity and communication for the boat. So everything that you're seeing that comes off the boats goes up to an INMARSAT satellite, then gets distributed back over to race headquarters. So we thank them again for their support and also their sponsorship of the entire OBR program. If you look at all the OBR uniforms during the race, you're going to see a little INMARSAT logo up there. So they just do a great job at showcasing the work of the onboard reporters.
All right, so since we don't need to intro what we are, what we're doing here, who the Boatfeed is, you guys know now, and thank you all for so much input all week long. Let's just get into it, man. We had 237 videos and several hundred photos to review, and I think we boiled it down to, I mean, there's only a few we could get to, right?
Tons of minutes. So what we also did for the timing of this is that we're going to be showing you the content, and then we're only going to give ourselves 90 seconds to talk about each one before we move on to the next one. So we'll see how we do with that.
You got like a Jeopardy timer or something?
I've got a little egg timer sitting right over here. You can't see it.
All right. So, well, let's start looking. And again, this isn't necessarily the best videos of all. We'll have each of our pick for that at the end here. But this is videos that we think are illustrative of what we want to see, what we think is working.
Yep.
Right?
Sounds good.
Let's go first. Wipeout on the Scallywag.
Awesome. Let's check it out.
All right, so what is it that I love about that video? Well, you all know what I love about that video. It's a huge wipeout. And after having gone through 237 videos, there's a little bit of a wipeout on Mop Freight that got caught. There's a couple of other near wipeouts, but nothing anywhere near like this thing, which is a full balls to the wall, everyone, you know, a yard sale wipeout that the team then gets under control pretty quickly, and away they go. So it has the best of both worlds. I guess it doesn't involve that much skill because it's a crash cam and shit happens. You press the button, it gives you the last 5 minutes, whatever it is. But in this case, it was Conrad Frost.
Yep.
He caught it, he got it, and it was a great wipeout.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I mean, Wipeout, depending on the conditions you're in, they happen frequently. As the race goes on, they're going to continue to happen frequently. Broaching in some parts of the ocean, I remember we were doing it probably every 30 minutes to 40 minutes. Like, it just depends on the conditions. Certainly in the Southern Ocean leg, which they're going to be headed into next, coming out of Cape Town, it's going to happen a lot. These boats are equipped with a crash cam, and I think that everyone's heard about these, but just to clarify how they work, there are several positions around the boat that there's a little red button, and you push the red button, and that activates the crash cam. Now, the crash cam's on a rolling timer, so it has a certain amount that it's always recording. And by always recording that, it gets what you just missed. So it's basically telling the hard drive to save that, and then you're all set to go.
All right, bam, 90 seconds. All right, what you got something up next to look at now?
My hydration. Well, I've been drinking a lot of salt water. My tongue feels like it's twice the size that it should be. I think I'd prefer to be drinking beer than salt water. But I got a little issue with my my water bottle because I managed to wash it with industrial soap, and it tastes pretty bad. They were just sending it down a wave. Oh.
Yeah, because it's so wet on deck, we've been drinking a lot of salt water, so my lips are feeling pretty dehydrated. It's hard to drink enough.
When you're tired and you're cold, you don't really want to drink anything, but you definitely need to. I think everyone's probably a bit dehydrated on the boat. So I'm keeping the electrolytes high. Every time I get hit in the face with the wave, I seem to go, oh no. Like now.
Very lucky man.
Yeah.
Having the time of my life.
Don't say it with such enthusiasm.
Hi, Bombay. Hey, Bombay. Just wait. Hey, Bombay. Hang on a second. Wait. Hang on, it's like Bombay. I just wanted to get you in a way.
No more breakfast.
Why do you do this?
Do what?
Why do you do this?
Do the Volvo, or because when you're driving on deck downwind at 25 knots, it's not as good as it gets. So it's worth the other stuff. And you get to eat porridge every morning, that's fun.
So that one, you got the timer going?
Yeah,
Timer,
no.
come on.
All right, timer, here we go. 90 seconds on the clock.
All right, that one, it's ostensibly about hydration, and every shot in the piece is about hydration in a way, but it works on so many different levels, and that's why I love it, okay? First of all, terrible angle of sail, super tight reach, breezy, shit tons of heel, 30 degrees plus of heel. You can't do anything on board, and big waves, so it's like, you know, it's those seasick conditions, and everyone's pretty unhappy, and they all try and put a brave face on it.
Yep.
And then, of course, we get the power shocker, which is first you get the pee being poured out in the cockpit, which is great. You know, that's real. That's what we do out there that people might not know.
Yep.
And second, you get Sam with the huge hurl.
It's so good.
Oh, God.
I talked to Sam. He was miserable during this. And I mean, I've done offshore with Sam. Sam can handle himself, but I mean, when it hits, no one's safe, right? And so he was feeling it. This was straight out of Lisbon, and he probably didn't have time to actually construct in his mind the boat feed. He just actually went out and shot whatever he had, and this is the result. It was great. The transition from the wave
I love it.
crashing, then into the cabin. That's amazing. That he just happened to be standing right there next to Sam. I thought Sam obviously has a really good group, and the Turn of Tide on Plastic guys, they're obviously brand new to this, and so you're getting this genuine reaction, and it really goes at length to really connect with the characters on board the boat.
Yeah, and a little of all these videos is who got lucky with the best boat that's going to bring the story up, but also they're creating the story.
No, that's exactly right. And just to add and over time, but that even the editing on that, really smart. Like Sam, he hurls, no breakfast, next cut. Why are you doing this? Perfect.
Oh man!
All right. So we're gonna check out next. We're gonna go to the doldrums. We're gonna keep moving the leg along. Martin sent an awesome video of a squall hitting Vestas. Let's check it out.
Okay, so this is the equator, and this is African coast, and that's north where Yana is, up north. And these are the trade winds, and they kind of come from the southeast in the southern hemisphere and from the northeast in the northern hemisphere, and they have to merge. And when they merge together just north of the equator, where we are right now, it turns into a shit fight. And we have to come down with Yana's little shoe and come through the doldrums to punch into the trade winds again on the southern side. And further west, the doldrums are skinnier usually because the wind is kind of converging more. And then by the end, and this is Brazil over here, but then the further west you go, then further back you have to come to Cape Town. But if we can cross east, then the shorter distance we can go, but the longer trade winds are. So here we are, somewhere about here, trying to get through the doldrums. And as you see, there's a lot of clouds around, and this guy looks pretty scary right now. And he might get us. But if we're lucky, we'll sneak around under him. If we're not lucky, it could be jungle ball. Anything could happen. It could be windy. It's gonna be windy. There's gonna be rain. It's gonna be bad. But we'll see. We'll keep chipping away. And I'm sure after this cloud, there's another cloud. And probably another cloud. And then maybe we're through. We'll see. I got a feeling the night's going to be long. Got a feeling.
We are max keel momentarily.
Never happy. Apprehensive would be a better word. No, they're moving quite fast, these clouds, so they're pretty hard to avoid. We might get a bit of wind, but probably get a header as well. Yeah. And maybe some rain, and if we're unlucky, a light patch. So yeah, we weren't so happy.
So there's a big cloud, and it's coming quickly. Looks like it has lots of rain, potentially lots of wind. Another one over here.
Yeah.
Another platform and 10. It's not going to be, I think, another 2 knots.
Get your bow, get everyone out!
Timer's on. So this shot video sent in from Martin, I loved it. Like by the time I got done watching this video, I was shocked that I had watched the whole thing. not because it was slow or anything. It was that I was surprised at how well the action moved and how glued I was to it. It starts with TJ talking about the map and explaining the doldrums, and then it does a couple things which I love, which is interviewing multiple people instead of just one. You get the comedy in there. You get a couple people commenting then on what's happening. And then Martin did something that I was trying to do the entire last race, and I never actually got it, and that is shooting a puff-on under a cloud as you go through the doldrums, because that's literally what your life is for days when you're going through that part of the world. And he had incredible patience, was rolling the camera, and I thought the action sequences are going through it was just awesome.
The storytelling was phenomenal. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what that one says to me. And I think Martin maybe he has the most potential of anyone out there that I've seen as far as storytelling. He seems to have that natural ability in both the democratic video. That we'll talk about later on, and this one I have the same feeling, which is like there's about a minute that could come out of that and make it even tighter. And I think Martin is maybe one of the guys who really is going to accelerate in his storytelling and his ability to put together a story of the right length as well.
Totally agree.
All right, so now let's get to the controversy. There is a controversy. There's a Rule 69 hearing in 2 days in Cape Town. For bringing the sport into disrepute. Who potentially brought the sport into disrepute? Team Scallywag posted a video, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks before the end of the leg. Maybe, I don't know.
It was probably halfway through the leg when they were going through the doldrums,
And this was the Dr. Cloggy video, the infamous Dr. Cloggy video, in which they explain it real quick.
Well, I mean, the video started out as this kind of daily morning show. Whitty was hosting it, and they go through various people of the crew. It goes to Annemieke, who's playing Dr. Clog, and they're asking her how to put Sudocreme on the scrotum.
On the scrotum, right? So, because that happens. You're all covered with rashes down there, right?
We talk about it all the time, right? It's just Sudocreme's a savior on board. It's something that definitely helps you out. So that was the video. It obviously had a huge public reaction that followed.
Well, and it was an interesting public reaction because in this current climate and with this rapidly changing sort of world and especially American attitudes towards sexual assault, sexual inappropriateness, and all these kind of things, boy, what a polarizing thing happened. Magenta Project put it on their Facebook page. Everyone started yelling and screaming. Eventually it came down. There was editorials coming out of old British colonials in Hong Kong about how it was destroying the sport. You know, I get it. I get why it's insensitive, why it's, you know, if my daughter sees that, she's going to think that's a little ridiculous. Why are they singling out this girl and asking her to put stuff on a man's scrotum? At the same time, like, I don't know too many people who are worried for Annemieke. I think she's okay. You know what I mean? So I don't know where you go with this. I don't understand necessarily why Rule 69 comes into it in a sport that's got lots of big problems.
And maybe by the time this airs, we'll know what the result of that hearing is. I think that, I mean, my gut reaction watching it, I was a little unsettled watching that, just naturally. I thought that it did cross a line. I obviously understand what boys talk is on a boat, what guys talk about. Just, I think that there, you know, so the Scallywag reputation, some people have talked about in response to that video, they've got no problem putting their reputation out there. And that video is not going to make or break it.
I'll tell you what, anyone who knows Whitty knows this isn't out of place. Anyone who knows a lot of boats knows this isn't out of place. Anyone who knows Australia knows this is out of place because they're well behind many other countries in misogyny, in developing out of misogyny. Sorry, Aussies, it's true. Come on. I think, though, to push this into Rule 69 is a little silly. What I think is it's a great opportunity for the Volvo Ocean Race and for media crew members and for publications to actually have this conversation. And guess what? Women are treated pretty poorly on a lot of boats in this sport. Okay, right here in the harbor, there are girls that go out on a boat because they think someone wants to take them sailing, and they actually want them to just, you know, maybe get down below and have some drinks and do something in the sack later on. This shit happens all the time. It's time to have a conversation with it. It's time to not accept it anymore. This is a great opportunity to talk about that and fix it. And I think Whitty maybe learned his lesson.
Volvo, Scallywag, they were good to take the video down. And things in the end hopefully are no worse for wear.
Is it really that hard for all of us to commit to not saying sexual things on board our boats?
I don't think. Yeah,
is it that hard? Like,
there's a million other things you can talk
if
about.
you know when you're at the bar and you're away from the boat and you're drinking with your friends, do make you hit on girls then, or tell your dirty jokes when they can walk away from you. But while they're out on a box with you,
talk about the bathroom, cuss as much as you want, and hit on race management. It's all good.
Speaking of bathroom,
yep.
I want to go. We're going to skip one here. I want to go to Annie Lush on Brunel with the bathroom explosion.
All right, let's check it out.
Well, I just woke up, went to use the head, went for a pee, but when I went to pump it, something else, a present came flying out and erupted all over the toilet and me, which wasn't so nice.
Is that not sweat?
It's no, something brown and went everywhere. Could be chocolate, but probably not. So I've just had to clean the head and shower myself at the same time. It's now the cleanest it's been, so I guess there's always a silver lining.
It looks something like this. Right? Not it, is it?
So there's a nasty, dirty subject, but it was picked up and narrated and edited beautifully to tell a great story, right? I mean, that is an emotional story. And this girl right here, I mean, Annie's as hardcore as they come. How is she not gagging? How you can tell she's disgusted, but look at her like she's just doing the job. She never throws anyone on the bus. She knows who went to the head before her.
I love this video because finally there's bathroom humor coming off the race. It happens all the time. In last race we would send it off and it didn't get out. And
it's not inappropriate.
It's a normal part of life on this race. Yeah. And whether you're going off the back of the boat, you're going in the head, you know, it's just hilarious. And I love the reference to the food. It all works really well together.
And I got to tell you, can someone please tell me how to get traps like Annie Lush? Shredded. Anyway, good stuff.
Rich Edwards, nice job. All right, so we're going to keep moving on. Next one that I wanted to touch on is going to be some of the drone stuff that Sam was doing that blew everybody away, I think. Let's check it out.
Driving.
What's going on, Liz?
All right, the drone stuff, that's where we're going to see all the new shots coming during this race, and we keep saying that. I mean, this shot right here, and he did a photo of this too. He's so far away from the boat, and he's circling a commercial freighter. Like, it's just such a cool perspective. And not only that, but he had Scallywag in as well, and they're match racing around this freighter. Like, that is incredible presence of mind to get that shot.
Honestly, Sam is really head and shoulders above anyone else on the drone right now, and the other guys are just going to have to play catch up. Here's what I wanted to say about this, because I had this pick
so
as
cool.
well.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Not as it's so cool, but here's what's coming, because that's not his boat, right? The drone wars are coming. The drone wars are coming.
Last
now,
race,
I want to see. Listen, wait. I want to see Sam Greenfield chasing another drone with his drone.
I actually told him that he needs to chase an albatross in the Southern Ocean. So the mission is on.
All right.
We also said last race that if we're allowed to have drones on board, then we need the means to shoot him down. So whether, I don't know what kind of gun you're allowed to carry, but that would be, not saying you should do it, but that would be pretty funny if you didn't see it coming.
With Sam, with where Sam's drone was off the bow of Scally, right, or whatever boat that was, Scally right there.
Yeah.
You know, you could have taken 2 bolts and a piece of string and caught it.
It'll be interesting to see what happens as far as pushback with sensitive information as well as these drones get closer to competitive boats. Maybe we can have someone out from Volvo to say what they're doing with that sometime, but time's up. Moving on. Couple more things before we move on to our favorites. I wanted to touch on 2 photos.
Okay.
All right. There's been some really, really cool photography coming out of the entire leg, right? People are evolving. I thought that James Blake on Axel Nobel is one of the best documentarians in the race. He's catching guys when they're not looking, when they're themselves. This shot of Nikolai from one of the early days of the race, exhausted. I love the lighting on his face down below. You'll see it's all pretty soft light coming out of these hatches as opposed to the hard light that you would get with a sunlight usually up on deck. So I just thought that was just killer. And then the second one by Martin really stood out to me because it's a new angle that we haven't seen during the race. And that's been my whole thing. Explore, you know, experiment with your shots, get something that we've never seen before. And this reflection that's in one of the cameras in the hatchway pointing back at Charlie on the helm, I thought was awesome.
Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. I'll say too that Blakey, of all the boats that weren't in that turn the tide on plastic Scallywag fight, which was kind of that gave them fodder for that whole leg.
Yep.
I would say the storytelling on Vestas was the most complete.
I would agree with that.
And in part also aided by Nikolai, who's phenomenal on camera, as I know very well. I've interviewed him many, many times. Yep. And Brad Farron. Like you've got 2 great guys who know each other a long time, similar ages, and it's a cool dynamic. So Blakey, nice job on documenting it. Nice work to everyone so far. Now we get to the most important part of the show, our picks for the best video of the leg. And honestly, it's cliche to say it, but it's ridiculously hard to choose. Of the 230, I had 42 that I wanted to highlight that I had to whittle down to 4.
Yeah, we had to trim them down a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah. There's so much stuff to talk about. And of course, head over to the Boatfeed on Facebook.
Yep.
And we'll be commenting on these videos and future videos for the next leg
as they
coming
go
up
up
soon.
During the leg. So let's get into it. All right, my pick, favorite video of the entire leg, Dongfeng. And you know, Pascal getting up on deck with the we're effed video, as we're calling it. Let's check it out.
Pascal Bidegarie.
The next 24 hours is sort of a bit of a few tactical decisions to make, and then we have a few days of just sort of reaching and downwind and quite strong wind. So that'll be more of a boat speed test than a tactical one, and then the arrival still could be a bit anything. It's still quite far away, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. We don't really know. We'll find out in 2 hours in the next scheduled report. I think everyone's a bit anxious for that. This morning, yeah, it looked a bit worrying, and we've had a bit of light wind, but it's hard to know. We don't know what everyone else has, and yeah, see what happens.
I think it's not really good. We did a mistake, maybe jibing too late. It's not a good timing, a good moment to talk to Pascal. We have to let him alone. So we stay on deck, try to sail fast, but you know it's not finished.
You don't find the 12. 348, Mafre 15.8, 346, Vinel 15.5, 342, Vesta 16, 333.
And it's worse for them as well? Or?
I don't think so. I think they are going to gain again. Après is 89 miles, 244.
89.
Yeah. In fact, if you engage, we have 52. To Mafre.
Oh, to Mafre.
To Mafre. And like that, 70. You know, we are
We're what?
we are completely.
Well, 3 holes in the ground. I've seen some very strange stuff happen out here on the ocean. It's never over till it's over.
Especially going across the equator.
Yeah. Nothing we can do about it right now. We'll keep sailing our boat, and who knows what might happen.
Start the clock. I cracked up when I saw what happens in this video with Pascal. I mean, we're watching right now the Volvo edit of it. The editing's just a little bit more trim, but the whole boat feed that Jeremy sent in, really, really well constructed as a whole. And then you're sitting inside the nav station with Pascal as he's getting a report. He comes up on deck, and yeah, we're effed.
We're effed. Yeah. And over again.
It was just... for him to be rolling the camera on that moment, I don't know how you would usually get a moment like that. Pascal's being himself. It's totally genuine. That's what I loved about it.
Yeah, and again, even to pick the most real story of disappointment video, there were lots of really good ones of those too. There was a great one on Axo. There was a great one on Vestas. Really good, disappointed, genuine emotion, pain, good stuff out there.
Disappointment's almost better than doing well sometimes, wouldn't you say? I mean, like you see, it's the head rubbing, it's the everything.
There's no question. I mean, I know what I want to see. I want to see real, and people are way more real when they're unhappy, right?
Yeah. No, I thought so. Really, really well done on Jeremy. I think that what it goes to show is just keep rolling. You know, as an OBR, we would always keep our cameras right next to us, even when we're sleeping. Like I would sleep with my camera next to me just in case something happened. You have to roll out and grab it.
Yeah.
Cool. What do you got, Clean?
All right. Whoa, perfect timing. Look at that.
We're nailing it.
My pick goes, unsurprisingly, back to Sam Greenfield, turning the tide on plastic with the best big breeze narrative. Now, interestingly, the final part of this leg, which is usually where Moore sets the 24-hour records, it's the big run, it's big waves up the butt. It didn't happen this time. It was more of a close reach most of the way for most of the boats. So we never got it. Where we did get it is we got it on the storm coming out of Lisbon. It was huge. It was gnarly. There were lots of different compilations, lots of slow-mo, lots of water splashing over everyone. But only this one I thought told the best, most exhilarating story and most compelling story of how really nasty it can get out there.
Yep, check it out.
This is one of the best moments in the race. You just left all the marks, all the shit, stack us up, and now we're sending it 30 knots. It's just a fight for 3 weeks now against other boats.
To tie it off and sat in front of the winch to try and clear it. Just as the wave came, the wave took me out, but I was clipped on. Mum, don't worry.
timer's
Start the
going.
timer.
So why do I love that video so much? Because if you only watched one heavy weather video for the entire leg,
That was it.
That was it.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And Sam did that entire day on a Garmin. The OBRs have got water housings for their DSLRs, but you know, some days if it's just nuking out, you don't want to have the weight of it lugging around. You can put it back into your pocket if you need to. It works really well. This shot, one of my favorite shots, it's done from the spreader cams looking aft. Just shows the speed of the boats, and overall it is a good heavy weather video. Yeah. I mean, Sam here is demonstrating his veteran's eye from the last race. You know, he knew exactly what to expect coming out of Lisbon, and he just totally rocked it with this video. Also, you gotta love one of the youngest crews out there. You know, promising mom she was clipped in, because you know her mother said before she left, "Promise me you'll clip in, baby." I was okay, mom. Right? That's what she said.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's good to get those candid moments too. You know, the Boatfeed has got everything in it, and yeah, I thought it was great.
All right, Sammy, you get my pick for the leg, and now we're going to take you to a brand new segment on the Boatfeed. Now it is time for Dial Up Pro, and we look for some outside support from the world of sailing media, and of course we're going to go to one of the best sailing photographers in the entire world. America's Cup, Volvo Ocean Race. He's done some sailing and some media coverage on one of these boats. He is from Holland, Sander van der Borch. Welcome to the Boatfeed, Sander.
Sander, what's happening?
Hi guys, good to see you guys change shirts.
I think you're not the first one who's challenged us on the lack of brown today. But Sander, I mean,
don't forget to look at that camera.
Oh,
that's all right.
Sander, you know, you've done your time on these boats. You obviously know most of the guys that are out there, or plenty of the guys that are out there, and you've been experienced at every level of sailboat racing, photography, videography, everything. And I guess, what do you think so far? I mean, we're 2 legs in, and it's been a lot of stuff coming out there. What's your overall impression?
Oh, the overall impression is actually really positive. I see really nice stuff coming off the boats. Obviously, those guys have been trained well, and they've been doing it for a while now, because they had the leg zeros and all that time leading up to it. So I think they had a running start, and you can see it. But of course, also some stuff they can do better. But I'm really impressed.
So should we get to some picks?
So Sander, we got your video. So we're going to do a video and a photo selection from Sander, and we've got your video selection first, which we're going to take a quick watch through, and then we'll comment after it. So we're going to take a quick watch through it, and then we're going to comment after that.
We could mitigate.
The more east you are, the more east you end up.
Right.
And then the harder it is to get
out.
Yeah.
And with it going to a 90 eventually, is that right? So it goes further east. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be soaking in 10 knots. Is this cloud any longer a determining factor in what we do?
It's kind of dissipated completely.
Yeah.
Like it's just turned into like a mist. So that
Stand
side
by,
of
guys.
it,
Man
I
on.
think it's a lot less active, but we're getting pressure out of it.
I mean, we can cross Mapfre by fucking 8 miles right now and just chip down. Pretty. What? I mean, what we're in a 50 or 40.
40,
50. Average wind is at 48 right now. Call it.
The group thinks we have a 55.
50, 52, something like that. This is the leftmost part of the EC grip, if you believe it, eh, Simon?
Yeah.
The old router's still telling you to go straight ahead.
Wow.
Depends on where you move the waypoint and the ITZ. ITZ.
If you put yourself in a place where you clear the Cabo Verde's shadow, it would drive you over, basically.
If we drive down, are we in front of backside? In a 50 crosswind, so about. Okay, about. The Dongfang's gone. Dongfang jibe. I mean, in a 40, if you can snap your fingers, you're on the other jibe. Yeah.
Did you jibe feel the 3?
Well, that's the other thing is.
39 now.
Yeah. I think we should just do it.
Just do it for a while.
Yeah.
I think even if you do half an hour and come back.
Yeah.
My other question is, would you put the 3 on to do it as well? But
I don't think given how long all that shit's gonna take, let's get going that way and see what it looks like.
So Sander, talk to us. What'd you like about it?
Yeah, what I really like about it is that you really get into the head of the people actually on the boat. You see the skipper coming on deck with the navigator. They already sort of made a decision to jibe, but they're not really sure if they should. And then they talk to the guys on deck, and you see they talk to, I think it's Tony Medder on the helm, who's probably been there a few times, and of course Simon's been there a lot as well, but they still want to talk to him and get his feel for it. And as soon as they get a little reassurance, they say, okay, we got the backup of the other guys on deck, and then they decide to take a little jibe to the rest of the fleet. So you really get a feel for what's it like to take a decision as a skipper there on the boat or the navigator. And it's very often it's just those two people deciding. And you see here on this boat, it obviously goes maybe a little different, and they looking for more input from other people, and maybe that's why they're also going well at times, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's a well-funded decision, everybody's into it, instead of two guys inside taking decisions and the other guys just steering the boat to the course, you know.
Yeah. That's a really good point, actually. Like, speaking from the last race, it was pretty rare that everybody's up on deck hashing out a decision like that, you know, democracy style. I think
it's pretty rare now too.
Like, right? It doesn't happen. Like, usually you might have a watch captain, a navigator, maybe a skipper dragged into it, and whoever's on watch. But, you know, to have everybody on deck at the same time meant people had to wake up. I'm sure they were probably talking about jive, and they probably, you know, tapped on the floor, got everybody up, and then there was further deliberation going on. But it may have even meant that Martin, the OBR, was sleeping at the time. He heard the knot, got up on deck for the jibe, and decided to roll on it and captured this awesome moment.
I'll point out one other thing, and this was certainly at the top of my list as well. Aside from the transparency of letting it out, and aside, you know, even though it maybe doesn't paint, you know, Charlie in the picture of like the most in control skipper, or maybe it does, you know, but it's something that we talk about. Making the fans understand and feel like they're part of it. That's a conversation that every single person who's done any little distance race anywhere has had.
Yeah.
And we've all been in that exact spot, and it makes the whole race feel really approachable for me, that video.
Well, one of the things about Vestas that I love is that I think Charlie picked the guys on the boat because it was people that he wanted to sail with, and that was the same strategy that Ian did in Abu Dhabi last race, and it worked out really well. So clearly everyone gets on well and is able to make decisions together. Great, and that's a sign of a strong team, I think.
Good stuff. All right.
Sandra, so you have a photo that you wanted to debrief with us. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so I think now you got on screen the photo of on the bow on Scallywag.
Yep.
And why this photo? Maybe it's technically not the best photo, but it is an OBR not afraid to actually walk around the boat and going all the way up front to take some shots, even in front of the crew. I'm pretty sure he's probably in the way of the action there, because there are people, maybe somebody in front of him also working on the sail, and he almost has, he probably is bumping into him, but he's still taking that shot, and it's different than a lot of the others because of exactly that reason, because very often you see a lot of other photos are more viewing the action from a distance, and here you're really into it. And if I'm sure it's probably hard to get more, but I would like to see more.
Yeah.
And I like this because these are actually also the moments that you see Annemiek there also pulling on the sail, and I think it's her, but I'm not sure. And they don't even look at him because they're so want to get the sail in, and that's, I think, will get you some great photography.
Yeah, I mean,
really
you make a good point. I mean, to be completely clear, Conrad, who took this photo, like, he is in the way, but he's doing his job as much as they're doing their jobs. And I always had a thing with the guys on Abu Dhabi, and I would just, and really with any boat that I've shot on, I'd just say, hey, just yell at me. You know, like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. If I'm in the way, shove me, yell at me, get me out of the way, but I'm going to go where I need to go to get a shot. And I think that it does say a lot about his his camaraderie with the crew, which I think we've seen in some of the other videos, the good content that he's putting off. But you know, like he gets along obviously really well. They feel like they're able to be themselves around him. So yeah, he's got a really good base to go from before that. And I think that Sanders' point that get in front of the mast, get into where it's wet, put yourself in, you know, compromising position without risking your safety. But that's where most of the good stuff comes from the race.
That is our Dial-A-Pro, Sander van der Borch. You can check him out at Sander van der Borch Photography on Facebook. We always love all of the work he does all over the world.
All right. Awesome stuff from Sander. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be keeping on bringing you these Dial-A-Pro segments. As we go leg by leg, we'll bring in some other professionals from the sport, give us their thoughts. Looking ahead into the next leg, leg 3 coming up. Southern Ocean leg, the first return actually to this trip down the south of the Indian Ocean. You look forward to it?
Well, it's the scariest place of all, right? I mean, if you look at the history of when things go wrong, it's almost always in the Southern Indian Ocean.
And it's remote. There is nothing down there, you know.
And because of Abu Dhabi and because of India in the past 3 editions, we haven't been back to the Southern Ocean. So who knows what to expect? We might have forgotten what it's like down there with modern cameras, right?
I mean, they're going to get shot straight out of the Cape Town Cannon, which was just epic last race. You're going to cross the Agulhas Current, which is nasty. I spent all 2 days just trying not to puke during that period last time. And then you're going to be straight into the freezing temperatures, the lower the lower latitudes around the planet. And you know, we're gonna see some really different things from the OBRs that we haven't seen yet. I think you're going to have your camera in a water housing almost the entire leg. You're going to be wearing 3 or 4, 5 layers. You're going to be editing with condensation coming around the boat. I mean, this is all stuff that the storytellers are going to have to deal with when they go into the Southern Ocean. Not to add, you know, the most important part, which is going to be their safety, making sure that they're clipped in. There's a huge opportunity for insane shots with the waves that they're going to encounter, and just the look and the exhaustion that you're going to see on the faces. And it'll be interesting to see who experiments, who gets out of the hatch, who you know, really exposes themselves to some, you know, kind of questionable situations, but gets some really good shots within the realms of safety.
How much is how do I want to say this? How much do you have to protect your gear? Like, is there a danger of running out of gear on a leg like that if you're not perfect with it?
Yeah, I mean, last race we were taking, at least my rule was to have a backup, if not a second backup for everything. So on a leg like the Southern Ocean leg that we did, I had 3 cameras, and I would actually take 2 cameras and put one in a housing, and it lived in the waterproof housing the entire leg. And then the second one was my my interior camera. It never saw outside. So the 2 of them, you know, the guys customize their gear at stopovers, so I would take lanyards and clips and put them on the camera so that I could actually hook them into the bunk. Because when you're sleeping, you want to have both cameras next to you, but in case you're broaching, which happens pretty frequently, you know, in the heavy weather, you don't want those cameras flying anywhere. So they would always be clipped in. I could have easy access to them, and then you've got spares if you need them. So, but yeah, you're planning everything around how to keep your equipment dry. The number one thing I got asked about how hard it was to be an OBR, the response that I would always give was, it's just a battle to keep the salt water out of your cameras.
Yeah, well, that's doing anything by the water, doesn't matter who you are.
Yep.
And that's all for this week, this legs boat feed, and thank you all for joining us. I want you to please head down to that like button right below you, or that share button if you're on Facebook. Mash it and spread the love, and also head over to Twitter or Instagram at the boat feed, or boat feed, the boat feed, whatever it is, you'll find us. And let us know what you like. Give us some comments, post some stuff up, share with us, and we'll share with you.
And stay tuned during the leg as we keep doing commentary running as we get more from the OBRs. But yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much to sponsors MUSTO and INMARSAT for making this all possible. And we'll just look forward to seeing you guys back here at next leg.
See you soon.